All right, if you're anything like me, chicken is a regular staple on your weekly meal plan. And in today's video, I'm gonna bring you 9 of our favorite chicken recipes. There is tons of variety in here, everything from casseroles to pasta and lots more in between. Every single recipe in here is super easy to make and super family friendly as well. So grab you something cozy to drink, maybe grab a snack for this one, grab your meal planner and sit down with me, and I hope this video brings you some new ideas to use with your chicken. All right, y'all, this first recipe is called Cafeteria Noodles, or I grew up calling it chicken and dumplings. Now, it's not homemade chicken and dumplings, but this is kind of what I know it as. And these are the ingredients we're gonna use, only a few ingredients, but if you've never made this before, don't be surprised. This has so much flavor and it's just something about it. All right, the first thing I'm doing, just getting my chicken broth in the pot. Also to our chicken broth, we're gonna add a spoonful of this Better Than bouillon. So you definitely wanna get the low sodium chicken broth because this is salty. So we don't want our salt content to be crazy high. All right, that'll melt down as this comes up to a simmer. We're also gonna go ahead and add in some black pepper. Like I said, we're definitely not gonna add salt here. We will taste it later on if we need it, but we probably won't. So I'm gonna add in our black pepper. We're just gonna bring this up to a boil. All right, you can see our water has come up to a simmer. So now all we're gonna do, grab my bag of egg noodles and we're just gonna dump these right in. So the broth won't fully cover your noodles, but I'm gonna pop the lid on here and let this go probably 5 to 10 minutes. All right, y'all, our noodles have been cooking just a few minutes. So now it's time to add in our cream of chicken soup. Give that another stir and we'll let these continue to cook until our noodles are tender. Will not take long at all. This is one of those meals that you could have this for a side dish. Like I said, you could do like we used to and add chicken in with it. That's what I'm actually gonna do tonight. I'll show you how I'm cooking my chicken here in just a second while these finish up. But you could add veggies in here, anything, but just this recipe on its own is so budget friendly. It's probably less than $5 to make. I didn't calculate it, but everything in here is super cheap. And honestly, it's probably stuff you have in your pantry as well. So tonight, this is how I'm gonna make our chicken to go in our noodles. I have been loving these Great Value. They're frozen chicken breast tenderloins. I pop these in the air fryer from frozen and they really cook up less than 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. And they're so easy to do as well. So I have my little air fryer liner over here. I'm gonna preheat my air fryer without that in there. And then all I'm gonna do is spray them down with a little bit of cooking spray. It's the extra virgin olive oil kind. And then you can use whatever seasoning you like. I like this Ragin' Cajun, it's mild. It pretty much goes with everything, so that's what we're gonna use. All right, the air fryer's heated up. I'm just cooking about 4. You can see they're pretty big. They will of course shrink down a little bit, but we're not trying to like have a whole bunch of chicken. We just want to add a little bit of protein to our noodles. So I'm gonna give each one a little spray. I'm gonna sprinkle some on, and then I will flip these over at least once throughout the cooking time. But I'm just gonna pop these in here. I have the air fryer on 375, and I just watch them. All right, so I'm just gonna slice up our chicken. Have it ready over here on the side, and we're gonna stir it in just a second. I'm gonna add a little bit of butter, probably about, I don't know, 4 or 5 tablespoons. Let that kind of melt down in there. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my stove all the way down to low. I grabbed my chicken as well. I'm just gonna drop it in and give it a stir, and I'll pop the lid on and just let it sit for another couple minutes, and we'll be ready to have this. And this smells good. I mean, it's just chicken broth, but both kids have already come downstairs and said, what am I cooking? It smells delicious. So like I said earlier, it's been a while since I've made these noodles, and especially this variation, but the girls and both Darren and I loved these. Darren and I both ate 2 big old bowls full of this. It is so filling, and I cannot wait to have this on our dinner rotation, especially coming in to the fall and winter time. Now I'm about to make another lunch recipe, and this one is buffalo chicken pockets. We love anything buffalo chicken, so I think these are gonna be good. So first we're just gonna start with a little bowl. I already have some cooked and chopped chicken in here. This is actually canned chicken. Feel free to cook your own chicken, use rotisserie, whatever you wanna do. And all we're gonna do to this is add your favorite buffalo sauce. You can add it as spicy or as mild as you like. Of course, I've told y'all we really like the Frank's Red Hot, the wing sauce in the buffalo flavor. It's so good for things like this. Next, we're just gonna take our little biscuit dough and just kind of roll that out a little bit. All right, I'm gonna bring back over our chicken and buffalo sauce mixture and just add a few tablespoons. Next, on top of that, probably about a tablespoon of sharp cheddar cheese. And then we're just gonna fold it right over. I might have packed this one a little full. And then we're just gonna take a fork and try to kind of seal it along the edges. Now I'm just gonna transfer it over here to my baking sheet. And then we're gonna do the same thing with the rest of our little biscuit dough. All right, these are going into the oven at 375 for about 14 minutes. Here are those buffalo chicken pockets right out of the oven. Of course, I serve anything buffalo with some ranch. These would be perfect for lunch, dinner. Also, anytime I make buffalo anything, it reminds me of football or Christmas. So perfect little appetizers as well. All right, let's cut one open and try it. Y'all ready? And it is called No Peak Chicken. All the ingredients are things that I know my family likes, so I really wanted to give this one a try. All right, I have my 9x13. The first thing going in is 2 cups of minute rice. This is just the minute rice or instant rice. Next, we're gonna add 1 can of cream of mushroom soup and also 1 can of cream of chicken soup. Next, I'm gonna pour in about 1/2 cup or 1/2 can of chicken broth, and then I'm gonna do the other half water because I really don't want this to be too salty. Because as you're gonna see, we do have quite a few salty elements. So let's get that 1/2 cup of water. Let me grab my whisk. We're just gonna whisk our rice around with our chicken broth and our cream of mushroom and our cream of chicken. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and move that to the side. All right, we have our chicken tenderloins over here in a bowl, and we are gonna season it. I'm gonna go in with the Kinder's wood-fired garlic. But like I said, I'm really not gonna do much because this seasoning, and most seasonings, if you look at their ingredients, salt is the first one. And that Lipton onion soup plus these cream of soups, they're really salty in that chicken broth. All right, just add a little bit more so our chicken is seasoned. All right, now we're just gonna nestle these little chicken tenderloins right in our rice mixture. All right, the last thing we're gonna do is sprinkle on 1 packet of our onion soup mix. Just right over top of everything. It gets on that chicken really good. Lord, it's the packet that never ends. I keep thinking it was the end of it and more would keep coming out. All right, I'm gonna grab my tin foil. All right, we already have the oven preheated to 350 and I'm gonna go with 45 minutes. All right, it's been there 45 minutes. We're gonna do what the opposite of what the recipe is called. And I'm gonna peek at it. I'll let y'all peek at it too. Okay, it looks delicious already. I don't know, should we let it keep going? I'm gonna let it go another 15 more minutes. Smells delicious, y'all. And here is the No Peak chicken after the 15 additional minutes. I have to say, this was really good. It was a very easy meal to make. I'll definitely make it again, but I think I might use the Lipton onion soup mix. I know I said it was the same at the beginning, but I think I do prefer the Lipton. So if you have that choice, maybe go for the Lipton, but for an easy weeknight dump and go meal, you really can't beat this. These are pretty small, but I think it'll still be okay with all the pasta and everything. And then next, we're going in with the Olive Garden Italian dressing. Now, I've seen a few people make this, and a few of them I've noticed have said you really don't need the whole bottle of this Italian dressing. And since my chicken breasts are kind of small, I'm gonna go with about half because I don't want it to be too zesty. That's what I've noticed a few people saying. And then next, the recipe I looked at called for grated Parmesan cheese, about 1/4 cup. But I also have shredded, so I think I'm gonna do a little bit of both. Just sprinkle that right over top of the chicken. Of course, you do it how you want to. Don't be afraid to change up recipes a little bit and make them, you know, put your own spin on it. I'm not gonna do a ton of the shredded Parmesan, just a small little handful. Also gonna give it a little sprinkle of black pepper. And then lastly, I have 8 ounces of cream cheese. Just gonna plop that right on top of the chicken. All right, so I'm gonna get this covered. I'm actually getting kind of a late start. What's new? So I'm gonna start mine out on high and then I'll probably turn it down to low. I do that a lot of times when I forget or just run out of time. Start it on high and then I'll turn it down to low so it doesn't cook too awfully fast. And then later when this gets all creamy, we're gonna shred it up and make the pasta that goes along with this. I'm so excited to try this recipe. All right, so I ended up just letting this chicken cook on high for about 4 hours. So now I'm just gonna kind of shred up this chicken. I'm just using a little chopping tool. It's a mix and chop, but you can get them on Amazon as well. It's nice and tender. We're gonna chop all this up, and it is nice and creamy as well. I hope the camera's doing it justice. Haven't tasted it yet, so we will see. So I'm just gonna keep that on warm, and meanwhile over here on the stove, I'm just gonna cook up 1 box of penne pasta. Of course, you can use any kind of pasta that you prefer. All right, so I guess you could serve it up separately. Just have your chicken with the sauce and the noodles, but I think I'm actually gonna go ahead and mix the two. You may or may not put all these noodles in here. Talked about sauce ratio. You gotta have it saucy. You can't have it too dry. I did taste that chicken. I think it's gonna be really good. All right, y'all, there is Olive Garden chicken pasta. Darren's tried it. I'm getting ready to try it myself. Not fancy, but definitely easy, and it gets dinner on the table. All right, I think I'm most excited about this dinner recipe. It's 3 ingredients, but a little disclaimer, I'm using 4, but it's optional. I'll get to that in just a second. So I have my little chicken sausages out here. I'm just gonna slice these up into probably 1/2 inch little slices. We are gonna saute these first. I just love how good these are when they have a little bit of that caramelization going on. Also, if you don't like chicken sausage, you could do just regular smoked sausage, smoked turkey sausage, anything that you like. This would also even be good with probably some rotisserie chicken in there. Or like I said, to keep it truly 3 ingredients, you don't even have to add any protein. All right, so we're just gonna cook our penne noodles according to box directions. We want these to be just al dente. All right, so I just have a hot skillet over here. I did use a little bit of cooking spray. Now we're gonna get that chicken sausage in the pan. And I like to just kind of spread mine out into an even layer. That way each one gets a little bit of that browned caramelization goodness going on. All right, next up, I'm gonna go ahead and pour in our marinara sauce. And this will also help get all those little brown bits from the bottom that our sausage kind of created. It stuck a little bit. Put it down. That sausage did stick just a little bit. It has some sugars in there from those red peppers and stuff. But all that's gonna do is add to this flavor. It's gonna be delicious. I turned my stove down. I'm gonna turn it back up now. That sauce smells so good. My mouth is watering. Next, I'm just gonna bring over that Boursin cheese. I'm gonna get it right in here. Maybe, if I can do it. There we go. I'm gonna kind of break it up a little bit. I should have cut it up before I put it in here, but all we're basically gonna do now is let this continue to simmer. Let this Boursin cheese melt down. As you can see, it's already starting to melt. I think it's gonna go a whole lot quicker than like cream cheese or something. But yeah, I'm just gonna bring this up to a simmer, let it warm through, let that cheese melt, and we'll be ready, y'all. Look how creamy this sauce is. It smells so good. I literally can't believe this is only 3 ingredients, and I cannot wait to try it. But next, I'm gonna bring over our pasta. Darren just said this looks like a vodka sauce, and it really does. It has that same color, but I'm very anxious to see how that flavor is. All right, this looks and smells out of this world. Let's go plate this up. And y'all know I'm gonna add a garnish. I know it's technically more ingredients. This part is not necessary at all. And we have a little bit of shredded basil to go on top. Gotta have that color, but you don't have to have it. Y'all know what I mean. All right, that looks absolutely delicious. I mean, if I was served at a restaurant, I would be happy. All right, first we're gonna give our slow cooker a good spray. And next we're just gonna place in those chicken breasts. Just have about 3 good-sized chicken breasts. Next, the recipe I'm kind of going by says to mix all the seasonings in a bowl first. You can do that, but I figure why mess up another bowl? Because all we're gonna do is sprinkle it all on top anyway. So I'm gonna add our garlic salt. Next, I'm gonna sprinkle on that cayenne pepper. And I might not add quite all of this. I do want my kids to eat it, so I'm gonna hold back just a little bit on that. Next, let's bring over that smoked paprika. Next, we're just gonna sprinkle on all of that brown sugar. We're also gonna pour that vinegar right on top. It's not much at all, actually. And of course, we're gonna add that honey. The recipe calls for a cup of honey just drizzled over the top like this. If you wanna measure out a cup of honey, go ahead and spray your cup measure down with some cooking spray and then do it, but I'm just gonna guesstimate because they're drizzling it right on top anyway, about a cup. And lastly, I have half a stick of butter right here. I just cut it up. We're gonna place it right on top. And the recipe I'm following says you can cook this on high for 2 hours or low for 3. But I think I'm gonna stick with low with all that honey in there. I'm just kind of nervous for it to burn. So I'm gonna start with low. My crock pot cooks kind of hot anyway. So I'm gonna go with low for about 3 hours. We'll check in and see how it looks. All right, y'all, if y'all see me back here, yes, I got my robe on. I'm getting ready. We have some things to do tonight, but let's give our chicken a little peek. It is looking and smelling delicious in here, and it is falling apart on my fork as well. So, all right, y'all, our hot honey chicken is done. Shredded all up. I have some toasted buttery hamburger buns over here. Just gonna pile some on there. Of course, I got my pickles waiting over here on the side. Cannot have hot honey without some dill pickle chips on top. It looks so good. This is such a simple meal, but I think it's gonna be delicious. I might have snuck a piece of this chicken, and it is really, really good. Get a few of those pickles on there. I'm gonna serve ours with some tater tots on the side. Y'all, that looks pretty good to me. So this is a Doritos chicken casserole. I already have about 2 cups of chopped rotisserie chicken in my bowl. I like to just buy a rotisserie chicken or 2 at the beginning of the week, shred it all up, and then it's ready to go for my recipes. So like I said, 2 cups of chicken. To that, we're gonna go in with a packet of taco seasoning. We're actually not gonna use the whole thing. We're just gonna use about half of this, because of course our Doritos have a lot of seasoning on them as well. Next, we're gonna add 1 can of mild Rotel. This is just the great value kind. It's just chilies with, or it's just diced tomatoes with green chilies. Add that in. Next, we're going in with 1 can of cream of chicken soup. I also have about 2 cups of shredded Mexican blend cheese here. We're gonna save some for the top, but we're gonna add about half of this to our filling. And lastly to our filling, we're gonna add half a cup of milk. All right, my bowl is kind of full, but we're gonna give everything a mix. All right, let's put that to the side and let's grab our 9x13. All right, now our Doritos are gonna come into play. So I'm just gonna crush up a little layer of Doritos in the bottom of the pan. This is kind of where you can do how much ever you want. If you want a lot of Doritos, if you want to use the whole bag, go right ahead. I don't have a measurement on this. I'm just gonna create a thin little layer down here. And if you don't like Doritos, you could just use plain tortillas for this, or even if you want to try it with the ranch Doritos or anything else for that matter. Just a tortilla chip will probably be good in this. Next, we're just gonna add our filling right on top of our Doritos. Spread it out just a little bit. Get it all nice and even in here. All right, layering on top of that, another layer of crushed Doritos. Whoops. Throwing them everywhere. And then lastly, we're gonna go in with another layer of cheese right on top. And this seriously, y'all, took me about 5 minutes to throw together, minus getting the chicken off the bone and all shredded up. This is super quick. All right, y'all, the oven is preheated to 350. I did go ahead and cover this, and this is only gonna take about 20 to 25 minutes. All we're really doing is heating everything up, melting that cheese, and we'll be ready. And y'all, now that our Doritos Casserole is in the oven, I found an ingredient I forgot to add. This is just half a cup of sour cream. I'm sure it'll still be fine without it, but y'all make sure, don't forget, like me, add your half a cup of sour cream when you add your cheese and creamy chicken soup, all of that, just with the chicken mixture, half a cup of sour cream. All right, here we go, out of the oven. Looks delicious, smells delicious. So as far as our toppings go, you can add whatever you want. You can add it individually on the plate, but I wanna make it cute, so let's add just a little bit of lettuce to the middle. And since I forgot the sour cream on the inside, we'll just add ours for the topping. It'll be just fine. And lastly, I have a few diced tomatoes. Let's add those on top. There we go. For such a quick and easy dinner, y'all, this was delicious. Both my kids loved it. They ate it right up. The Doritos on the bottom, they soften up a little bit and it just kind of tastes like corn tortillas on the bottom. This top stays more crunchy. I love that. Add whatever taco toppings you and your family like, but we really enjoyed this. All right, this next meal is truly a one-pan dinner. It is a creamy sun-dried tomato chicken and orzo skillet, pure comfort food, and it only takes about 30 minutes to make. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is heat up, I just have a large iron skillet. We're gonna heat this up on a medium heat, just a little bit of olive oil. And while we're doing that, let's go season up our chicken. All right, so I just have a large bowl. We're gonna add in our chicken thighs. We have about 6 chicken thighs here. It's 1 pound of chicken thighs. So we're gonna do about 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, 1 teaspoon of paprika. This is about 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Darren wanted me to add a little bit of cayenne, so I'm just gonna do a little sprinkle in there. Then we have a pinch of salt and a pinch of black pepper. Next, I'm gonna drizzle on another teaspoon of olive oil just on our chicken thighs. All right, so now we're just gonna toss our chicken thighs around in our olive oil and all those seasonings. Get everything nice and evenly coated. All right, those look pretty good. Our skillet should be heated up. Let's go check on it. We're just gonna get all of our chicken thighs added in. And we are just going to sear these on both sides for just about 5 minutes or so until both sides are golden brown. We are going to remove these from the skillet to add our other ingredients, but everything is going to finish cooking all in here. It's time to go ahead and flip our chicken thighs. We're starting to get some nice color on that side. Look at that, y'all. That looks good already. So we're just going to give everything a flip. Let it go another 3 to 5 minutes on this side. Our chicken is looking nice and golden on both sides. So now I just have a plate over here. I'm gonna transfer it over. It's nice and golden already, but it's gonna be even better. All right, I'm just gonna set this to the side. I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of butter. Get that melting down. Kind of help those little bits of goodness come up off our pan. We're also gonna add some minced garlic. And this is 1 small shallot that we just diced up. Just gonna continue to stir this to make sure that garlic doesn't burn. It's only gonna take just a couple seconds to open up these flavors. Get this butter melted before we add some other ingredients. We're also gonna add 1 cup of Orzo. We're gonna kind of toast it up along with everything for just a minute or 2. And one thing about cast iron, just make sure, of course, you're using like a silicone utensil. These are Spurtles. These are my favorite. Not sponsored, but anytime you're cooking on cast iron, you don't want to use a metal utensil and scratch your pan, your skillet. All right, I just like to spread mine out a little bit. Let this toast for just a minute or 2. We're gonna add about a 1/3 cup of wine. We're just gonna stir it around, kind of deglaze our pan a little bit. You can see some of those little Orzo might have gotten almost a little too toasty, but I think they'll be just fine. I think they'll be good. All right, next we're gonna go ahead and add in 1.5 cups of water. And we are just gonna give this a stir and bring this up to a simmer. We're also gonna sprinkle in about 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. The recipe we are following said grated. I'm sure you could use shredded Parmesan if that's what you had. We're also gonna add about 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. I have about 2 cups of baby spinach here. I did kind of go ahead and pull mine off the stems, especially in stuff like this with a creamy sauce. I love spinach, it's gonna cook way down, but sometimes the stems can still be a little bit woody, so I just don't like those as much. So I just pulled some of the stems off of there. Last but not least, we're gonna add about 1/2 cup of those sun-dried tomatoes. And I think I probably tell y'all this every time I cook with sun-dried tomatoes. Tomatoes are not my favorite, but y'all, I love sun-dried tomatoes. They taste completely different in my opinion. They really are not acidic, they're more sweet. So I love adding them in. Give everything a stir. All right, I think our chicken has mostly wilted down. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my stove off. Now it's time to bring back over those chicken thighs. We're just gonna nestle them down in this sauce. This looks incredible already. What do you think?
I think it looks delicious.
All right, we got everything in our skillet. Now we're just gonna transfer this whole thing to the oven for only about 10 or 15 minutes. The oven's already preheated to 400. Let's just pop it in here. And like I said, 10 or 15 minutes, but of course we'll check to make sure that chicken is 165, but we should be good. All right, y'all, it has been about 15 minutes. We're gonna check, see how we're looking. That looks amazing, if I do say so myself. Let's carefully bring it over here. All right, it's time to plate this up. I'm gonna try to scoop out some of this Orzo, kind of make a little bed of Orzo. It's creamy and delicious, oh my goodness. Look how good that looks, y'all. I'm just gonna give it a little Parmesan cheese for a garnish. Cut into this chicken. It's nice and tender. See the inside, nice and cooked through. Look at that, looks super juicy. All right, let's give it a try. Chili lime chicken tacos. These are so easy to make and so good and such a good little switch up for Taco Tuesday. So we have about 4 chicken breasts over here. I'm just gonna get those in the bottom of my crock pot. You can do 3 or 4, but my pack of chicken came with 4, so there's no sense in leaving one behind. Get them all nice and snug down in there. All right, next I just have 1 jalapeno and 1 poblano pepper, and we are just gonna chop and dice these up. And you can leave the seeds in there if you want to. I'm gonna remove them just to make it a little bit less spicy. The poblano pepper is not spicy anyway, but sometimes the jalapeno can be pretty spicy. I'm sure y'all know that. Now I'm just adding my chopped jalapeno and chopped poblano peppers all over my chicken. Next, we're going in with 1/2 cup of freshly squeezed lime juice. Next, we're going in with some honey for some sweetness. This is probably just a few tablespoons. That's gonna balance out all of our heat going on. We're also gonna add a sprinkle of salt, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. Now I'm gonna do also just a little sprinkle of cayenne. Not too much. I don't want it to be overly spicy, especially if we have a spicy jalapeno. Y'all, my mouth is watering, oh my gosh. And lastly, I have about 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika. And this is it. We're gonna let this cook. I'm gonna cook mine on high for probably only 3 to 4 hours. These chicken breasts typically do not take long at all to cook. And these are gonna be some delicious tacos. All right, our chicken has been cooking on high for 4 hours exactly. It is nice and tender. I already checked it with a fork. So now I'm just gonna take 2 forks and shred it all up. As you can see, I'm not really having to work that hard to do that. And these smell delicious. But it really is because I smell all those spices and peppers in here. It smells really, really good. And we are making these into tacos, of course. But as you can see, the only liquid I added was that lime juice. And I think this will be really good like a bowl, like put it over some rice and kind of do it like a chipotle bowl almost. All right, I think we have it pretty much all shredded up. You can see all of those peppers in there. All my people who always comment for no cheese, there's no dairy in this, right?
Unless you put it on a taco.
Well, of course, if you add your dairy toppings, but for a dairy-free recipe, I think this one is a perfect one. All right, let's grab our taco shells. Alrighty, y'all, let's plate these up. And as you can see, this chicken has a lot of juice in there, which is a good thing. It's not dry chicken at all. But I am gonna use my slotted spoon and just kind of drain it off because I don't want quite all that liquid in my tacos. And of course, I know I don't have to tell y'all, add whatever taco toppings you like. In this house, our kids especially they actually prefer chicken tacos, but they have already eaten tonight, but we will have plenty of this left over. First, we're going in with a little bit of cheese. Next, a little lettuce. Let's do a little bit of salsa. Next, gotta have sour cream. And just a little hot sauce, because why not? And lastly, just a sprinkle of cilantro. This looks delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is your plate. You get the show plate tonight.
Yay.
If you've made it this far in the video, let me know which of these ideas you maybe jotted down as a new dinner idea. Every single one of these is super delicious. You really can't go wrong, especially when they're super easy recipes. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I have another video on the screen you might enjoy. I'll see y'all over there, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye, y'all.